Welcome to Windsong Intuition. This video is going to be a focus of the week reading for air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And this is going to be a little bit different than most forecast readings that you'll see, weekly forecast or horoscope readings. This isn't going to be focused on day by day. This is going to be more on what area in your life do you really need to focus on. It could be yourself. I have the reading set up to where it's either yourself, which could be just self-care, taking care of yourself, watching your health or diet. It could be finances, which would be just bills in general or work. I have home, and by that I mean more material, which I include the vehicles in that as well. Maintenance, anything within the home that needs to have your attention. Relationships, and that's any kind of relationship. Love, friendship, work related. And then the next one would be education, and that doesn't necessarily mean school. It can, of course, mean school, but how-to videos that you may want to watch, or if you're really into reading a book on just anything that is self-betterment, so that once I do the reading and I see which area I feel like next week is really going to need your attention, I'll pull that aside and pull some clarifying cards and maybe some action cards. This is going to be, as I said, for the air signs, and I've already prayed over these cards and set my intention. And this is, even if it's not the second week in July 2019, if you're watching this at a later date and you just felt really pulled to watch this video, I set the intention that this was timeless. So if it's got a message that you need to hear and you're drawn to watch it, then it's good that you went ahead and clicked on the link to watch it then, because it's got a message for you. This is also a general reading. When general readings, just keep in mind that it may not resonate with you, and that's okay. Sometimes your sun sign doesn't give you the most accurate reading for whatever reason, and if that's the case, look to your other signs. Look for your rising moon or even Venus signs. My sun sign, usually it gives me the most accurate reading, but not always. Sometimes I've had to look to my other signs. So this, I'm going to start shuffling, and I'm not the prettiest shuffler, just to warn you, and I shuffle in different ways. It just depends on how I feel the message is going to come out. And I'm going to shuffle until I feel that the message is ready. So what do the air signs need to know, need to focus on for the second week of July 2019? Focus for oh, that was quick. Okay, so this first card here is yourself, Temperance. Then we have the work and finances. And we have home. Well, that's good. Relationships. I believe the fire signs also got a sword, and this is education. Okay. So right now I'm not seeing anything that's really bad in a way. I really think that you would be fine focusing on anything. Now the temperance for yourself, what I'm getting from this is that next week, and this is going to be true for just about all the signs, just because of the Mercury retrograde and the eclipses, we're all going to have to watch our emotions and how we deal with it. And just be sure that you're aware that your emotions are going to be heightened during this time, and just be careful how you're dealing with people. But for this, what I'm seeing is that you're going to be really focusing on that. You're going to be aware of it. The fire signs may not always be aware, and that when I gave their reading, I told them that. But for you air signs, I think you are going to be aware. You're going to be cognizant of that, and you're going to be working on it. And so I see that this is something that that isn't going to be an issue for you next week, because you're aware of it. You're going to be able to handle this really well. For work and finances, I don't really see a lot going on for you guys in this area. I think you're just, you're kind of at a stagnant point, and that's not a bad thing. It just means that things are fine, that they don't really need to change. Some will know that this card traditionally doesn't always mean that, but for right now, I just keep hearing stagnation. So I don't think it's anything that really needs focus. I think you're just going to be hanging out right now. It might be good for some of you guys to kind of take a different look, a different perspective when it comes to your work or your finances, kind of see things from a different perspective. I don't see this as any kind of an issue, though. I definitely don't see anything when it comes to home. This is one of the most positive cards that you can get. So I see that there aren't any major issues coming up with your vehicle or your home right now. So this is really positive. Things are going to be really good next week for you guys. Now this, when I think of swords and I think of words and taking action with those words, be very careful, especially with your emotions sort of heighten what you say to people. Make sure that, especially if you feel like, this is what I'm starting to hear right now, I feel like if you feel like you need to say anything profound, really make sure that you're wording it well. Make sure it's, especially if it has anything spiritually involved, that it's coming from a divine source. Really take the time to make sure that any profound words you have are going to have the best impact. Mercury retrograde is really bad about miscommunication and those words getting misunderstood. So really think about that, and especially if you feel like there's somebody next week that you really need to convey a strong message to, just pray about it, or however you feel the need to, get in contact with Source, and just make sure that those words, think about it, make sure those words aren't going to get misconstrued. For some reason, I'm being really pulled. I'm going to pull these other cards out of the way. I really feel like this is going to be what you need to be focusing on, which is the what I would call self-improvement, education. Some of you, this is going to be about school. I know it's summertime, but some of you may be thinking about going back to school. You're looking for something better. You've got this stuff, you've finished with this stuff, you're looking on to something new. And you would really need to be getting on that now if you're wanting to start that up for the school year. For those of us in America, the school year usually starts in the fall, August or September, so you would really need to be jumping on that now. Let me see, what else am I feeling from this? For some of you guys, you're feeling like you're missing something about yourself. This isn't, so for some of you guys, this isn't going to be about school. For you air signs, some of this I'm feeling like you're wanting to improve yourself somehow, and you're feeling an interest in something, and you're wanting to go about learning that and getting better at that. This is something that you may want to look into, classes or workshops, or going to the bookstore, or getting on Amazon and looking for some books that are about this, whatever this interest is that you guys have. It may even be just looking at YouTube videos of. I'm really feeling like some of you guys are really just, you're feeling like you're ready for this next step, this next evolution in your learning. You're ready to be a student at something. So let's see if there's a clarifying card that'll come up for you guys. I need a clarifying card for the air signs in the area of education or self-improvement. No, I'm liking this top card right here. Oh, you're ready for a new cycle. This is, it may look like a really disturbing bad card, but what I'm feeling from this is that you're really feeling as though you have ended a period in your life, and you're ready for the next step. You're ready to move on and go into a new phase. You are eager, you're wanting to learn. Whatever this period of your life was, it has set you up to looking ahead for better things. You may have been going through a really hard time, or it could have been emotional, it could have been mental, it could have been physical, but for whatever this was that you are coming out of, and if you haven't come out of it yet, you will. But I'm really feeling like for a lot of you, you are on the end of it, and it has motivated you to look ahead for better things. You are driven now for self-improvement, and I feel like that's going to play heavy next week. You're really going to be feel driven to move past this and go into this. So I'm going to pull some more cards here. Now this deck is hard for me to shuffle. It's thick. If you watch my first video where I introduce my decks to you guys, you'll see that I really like this deck, but it's really hard for me to manhandle here. Oh, I like this top card. Let's see. Be assertive when it comes to what you know is right. Everything going your way. A good person or company to work for. Okay, what I'm getting for this is not necessarily what these words are saying. What I'm getting from this is that whatever this is, it's not just about your self-improvement. I think you're ready for a career shift. I think you're ready to stop doing something, whatever this event was. It was so upsetting for you that you're thinking, I don't want to live it. I don't want to continue with this mundane existence. I want to start doing things that I want to do. I want to start living in a way that I want to live, and I want to start making a living in a way that makes me happy. So what I'm seeing from this is while you may be hearing from people, oh, but you have a good job, you have a good this or that or whatever, stand your ground on that, and just remember where you're coming from and why you're feeling what you're feeling, and just make sure that you're focused, and that you really sit down and come up with a game plan here. On how you want to do this self-improvement. Instead of just wistfully looking off into the distance here, stand your ground. Remember why you're doing what you're doing and why you're feeling these things, and just let people know, hey, you know what, you're not living my life. I need to be happy. And I really feel like, I really do feel like this is something to do with you're unhappy with your career, and you don't want to end up at the end of your life thinking, I really wish I hadn't spent the last 30 years stuck in that job that I'm unhappy with. So, and it's going to require you to learn some new things, and to, whether it's technical or artistic or whatever, make sure you don't just jump from this job into whatever it is you're wanting to do without that education. I really think that you really need to get the education lined up so that you are able to make this transition. But make sure, even if you have some naysayers there, that you stand your ground and you're like, nope, this is what I'm going to do. I'm determined to live a happy life. And I see that that's really going to be a focus for next week. So I really hope this reading was helpful to you guys, and that this is going to help push you into standing your ground. And if it does, let me know how your week goes. Leave a comment and let me know how everything turns out for you. I'd really be interested to hear that. So have a really good day, air signs.